Welcome back to my channel, Valuable Rare Coins. If you love discovering hidden treasures in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we'll uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're talking about the 1961 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin. This coin may seem like just another penny, but trust me, it's anything but ordinary. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll see why this small coin can be worth a huge amount of money. Let's take a step back in time to 1961. The United States was in the midst of a decade of change. The country was transitioning into the 1960s with exciting developments in space exploration, the civil rights movement gaining momentum, and a cultural shift that would define the era. On the coinage front, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins, including the ever-popular Lincoln cent, which had been around since 1909. The 1961 D. Lincoln cent was produced at the Denver Mint, marked by the D. Mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. It features the famous portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The reverse side of the coin, as you know, showcases the iconic image of the Lincoln Memorial. This design has been a staple of American coinage for decades, and it represents the country's respect for President Lincoln's legacy and his leadership during one of the most critical times in U.S. history. What makes the 1961 D. Lincoln cent so special? Well, most of the 1961 D pennies in circulation today are not worth much more than their face value of 1 cent. But here's the catch: condition and rarity are everything in the world of coin collecting. The vast majority of 1961 D. Lincoln cents have been used in daily transactions for years, and as you can imagine, they've seen their fair share of wear and tear. But not all coins are in the same condition. Some 1961 D pennies were carefully stored away, untouched, and in pristine condition. It's these well-preserved coins that are highly sought after by collectors. When a coin is in uncirculated condition, it means it has never been used in circulation. These coins look as if they just came from the U.S. Mint, with no signs of wear, scratches, or fading. Uncirculated coins are rare, and they can fetch a premium price in the market. But it doesn't end there. The grade of the coin also plays a huge role in determining its value. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC assign a grade to coins based on their condition, with higher grades indicating better quality. A 1961 D. Lincoln cent in MS 65 or higher condition is extremely valuable to collectors. Now, let's talk about error coins. In the world of coin collecting, errors are often the holy grail. When something goes wrong during the minting process, the result is a coin that stands out from the rest. Error coins can range from small mistakes, like a misaligned die, to more noticeable ones, such as a double strike or an off-center coin. These unique errors make the coin much more valuable because they are one of a kind, and collectors love to hunt for them. In the case of the 1961 D. Lincoln cent, there are a few known errors that have made this coin even more desirable. Double die errors are some of the most exciting mistakes in coin collecting. This happens when the coin is struck multiple times with slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect on the date or inscriptions. If you happen to find a 1961 D. Lincoln cent with a double die error, it could be worth a small fortune. These coins are rare, and their unique characteristics make them highly collectible. Another error that collectors look for is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not aligned properly with the die during the minting process, causing part of the coin to be missing or the design to be shifted off-center. Off-center Lincoln cents, especially from 1961, are sought after by collectors who appreciate the rarity and unique look of these misstruck coins. If you find one of these, you might just be holding onto something incredibly valuable. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for, the big reveal. Just how much can a 1961 D. Lincoln cent be worth? If you happen to find a pristine, uncirculated coin, or better yet, one with a minting error, it can be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. In fact, a 1961 D. Lincoln cent in near-perfect condition or one with an incredible minting error, has been known to sell for an impressive $118,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $118,000 for a single penny. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? This is the kind of discovery that can turn a simple coin into an instant fortune. While the 1961 D. Lincoln cent might not seem like a big deal at first glance, when you consider the rarity, condition, and potential for errors, it becomes clear that this coin can be worth a small fortune. So, the next time you come across a 1961 D penny, take a closer look. Does it have any signs of wear, or is it in mint condition? Is there any hint of a double die error or perhaps an off-center strike? If you're lucky enough to find a coin in great condition, or even better, a rare error, you could be sitting on a valuable piece of history. Second rare coin, we're diving into the world of one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1964 D. Lincoln 1 cent coin. You might have come across one of these in your pocket change without giving it a second thought, but trust me, this particular penny could be hiding an extraordinary secret. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll discover just how much this coin could be worth, and it's likely more than you ever imagined. Let's set the scene. It's 1964, and the United States is experiencing a time of cultural transformation and economic growth. The country is recovering from the turmoil of the 1960s early years, and the economy is on the upswing. Amidst all this, the U.S. Mint was hard at work producing coins, including the famous Lincoln cent, which had been in circulation for over 5 decades by this point. With the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, the 1964 Lincoln cent wasn't anything new in terms of design. The memorial design, created by artist Frank Casparo, had been in use since 1959, and it was as recognizable as ever. The 1964 D. Lincoln cent was minted in Denver, marked by the mint mark D on the reverse. These pennies were produced in huge quantities, as they were made for everyday circulation. Like most pennies from the 1960s, they were designed to be used and passed along through countless transactions. But over the years, many of these coins have become worn, scratched, and damaged due to their time in circulation. That's where things get interesting, because even though the 1964 D. Lincoln cent may seem like just another penny, there's a very real possibility that it could be worth much more than that. The value of any coin depends on several factors, but the condition of the coin is one of the most significant. Most 1964 D. Lincoln cents you come across will be in fairly poor condition after years of use. These coins may have scratches, worn edges, or faded details. But what happens when a coin is uncirculated? That's where things get exciting. Uncirculated coins are those that have never been used in circulation. These coins are as fresh and pristine as the day they were minted. The great thing about uncirculated coins is that they are rare. Coins like the 1964 D. Lincoln cent that have been carefully stored or preserved over the years without being passed through people's hands in daily transactions are much harder to find. The higher the grade assigned to the coin, the more valuable it becomes. For example, a coin graded as MS-65 or higher is far more valuable than one with visible signs of wear and tear. Now, let's talk about the minting errors that make certain coins especially desirable. In the world of coin collecting, error coins are often considered the crown jewels of a collection. Why? Because minting errors are unique. They happen when something goes wrong during the production process, and they make a coin different from the rest. There are a variety of errors to look out for, such as double die errors, misstrikes, or off-center strikes. These mistakes are rare, and collectors are always on the lookout for these one-of-a-kind treasures. The 1964 D. Lincoln cent has been known to have a few minting errors that make it special. One of the most sought-after errors for this coin is the double die error. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once, but the second strike is slightly misaligned, causing the design to be doubled. The doubling effect can appear on the date or inscriptions, and it's easy to spot when you know what to look for. If you come across a 1964 D penny with a double die error, You're sitting on something that's incredibly rare and valuable. Another type of minting error that collectors love is the off-center strike. In this case, the coin is struck incorrectly during the minting process, causing the design to be misaligned. An off-center Lincoln cent, especially one that's from 1964, could be a collector's dream. These coins are unique, and their misalignment gives them a special charm. A well-preserved off-center 1964 D Lincoln cent can fetch a significant price on the market. So, what exactly can these coins be worth? Well, a typical 1964 D penny in decent condition might only be worth a few cents above face value. However, when it comes to uncirculated coins or those with minting errors, the value can skyrocket. And that's what makes this particular coin so exciting. Now, here's the part you've all been waiting for, the real shocker. If you're lucky enough to find a pristine 1964 D Lincoln cent in uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a double die error or another rare minting mistake, it could be worth $110,000. That's right, $110,000 for a single penny. It's almost hard to believe, but the truth is that rare error coins can command astonishing prices in the right market. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents, particularly those from specific years like 1964, will pay top dollar for coins that are in exceptional condition or have unique features. So, if you find a 1964 D penny that looks like it's been sitting untouched for decades, or you spot a rare minting error, don't just toss it aside. You might be holding onto a small fortune. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and you never know when you'll come across a coin that's worth much more than its face value. So, the next time you go through your change jar, take a closer look at your 1964 D pennies. You might just find the one that changes everything. Third expensive coin, we're focusing on a coin that you might have seen in your collection or even in your pocket change, the 1966 Lincoln 1-cent coin. At first glance, it might seem like just another penny, but trust me, there's more to this small coin than meets the eye. Stick with us until the end of this video, and you'll discover just how much this particular penny could be worth, and it's likely more than you think. To understand why the 1966 Lincoln cent is so valuable, let's take a step back in time. The year is 1966, and the United States was in the midst of a transformative decade. The country was seeing the growth of the civil rights movement, the space race was in full swing, and there were monumental shifts in American culture and politics. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins that represented the strength and heritage of the American people, and one of the most iconic was, of course, the Lincoln cent. The design of the Lincoln cent is instantly recognizable. On the front, we have the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, a representation of strength and leadership that's been a part of American coinage since 1909. On the reverse side of the coin, there's the image of the Lincoln Memorial, a fitting tribute to Lincoln's legacy and the country's respect for his contribution to American history. The 1966 Lincoln cent was produced in massive numbers and circulated widely throughout the year. However, what many people don't know is that this particular coin, while common in appearance, has the potential to be worth a lot more than its face value. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The condition of a coin can drastically affect its value. Most 1966 Lincoln cents you find in circulation today have experienced significant wear and tear. They've passed through countless hands, changed pockets, and seen their fair share of daily transactions. These coins will likely show signs of age, such as scratches, faded details, or worn edges, which decreases their value. But here's the exciting part. If you manage to find a 1966 Lincoln cent that's been well-preserved or even uncirculated, that's where the real value lies. An uncirculated coin is a coin that has never been used in commerce. It's essentially as pristine as it was when it was first minted, showing no signs of wear or damage. And that's a big deal in the world of coin collecting. Uncirculated coins are rare, and they can fetch a much higher price compared to those that have been circulating for decades. In fact, the condition of the 1966 Lincoln cent is one of the key factors that can determine its worth. Coins that are graded as MS-65 or higher are considered to be in near-perfect condition, and these coins can be extremely valuable to collectors. But it's not just about condition. Rarity is another major factor that drives up the price of a coin. While the 1966 Lincoln cent was minted in relatively large quantities, certain factors make some of these coins much rarer than others. Some 1966 pennies may have subtle variations in their design, or there could be minting errors that occurred during production. These errors are what make a coin stand out from the rest, and what make certain coins even more desirable to collectors. When it comes to the 1966 Lincoln cent, certain errors or misstrikes can make this otherwise ordinary penny a real gem. For example, a double die error is one of the most common mistakes that can significantly increase the value of a coin. This occurs when a coin is struck multiple times, but the second strike is slightly misaligned, causing the design to appear doubled. If you find a 1966 Lincoln cent with a double die error, you're looking at a coin that could be worth far more than its face value. These kinds of errors are rare, and collectors will pay a premium for a coin that features this unique flaw. Another error that makes the 1966 penny even more valuable is a misaligned die or an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not positioned properly during the minting process, resulting in a design that's off-center or incomplete. Off-center strikes are highly prized among collectors because they're rare and visually distinctive. If you find a 1966 penny with an off-center strike, especially one in good condition, it could be a very valuable addition to your collection. So, what's the actual value of a 1966 Lincoln cent? If you happen to come across a pristine, uncirculated 1966 penny, or better yet, one with a minting error like a double die or an off-center strike, then you might be in for a big surprise. In some cases, these coins can sell for an incredible price. And now for the big reveal, a 1966 Lincoln cent in excellent condition or with a rare minting error has been known to sell for as much as $100,000. Yes, you heard that right, $100,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, but it's true. While this may be the exception and not the rule, a well-preserved, error-free or error coin 1966 Lincoln cent could easily fetch this jaw-dropping price, making it one of the most valuable pennies out there. So, the next time you go through your coin collection or check your pocket change, take a moment to look at those 1966 pennies. Does it look like it's been carefully preserved? Does it have any unusual features or errors? You might just be holding onto something worth far more than its 1 cent value. Especially, we're going to be diving into a coin that you might have overlooked before, the 1972 D. Lincoln 1 cent coin. At first glance, it might look like just another penny, but this little coin has the potential to be worth far more than you think. Stick with us to the end, and you'll discover just how much this penny could be worth today. Spoiler alert, it's a lot more than 1 cent. Let's set the stage. The year is 1972, and the United States is coming out of a decade of social and political change. The country is in the midst of the post-Vietnam era, and a lot is shifting in American society. At the same time, the U.S. Mint was still producing a huge number of coins for circulation, including the Lincoln 1 cent coin. These pennies were minted in massive quantities, especially since they were used so frequently in daily transactions. The 1972 Lincoln cent wasn't anything revolutionary in terms of design, but that doesn't mean it didn't have some fascinating features that make it special for collectors today. Now, let's talk about the design of the 1972 Lincoln cent. On the obverse, you have the well-known portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. This design has been featured on the Lincoln cent since 1909, and it remains one of the most iconic representations of a U.S. president on coinage. On the reverse side, you'll see the familiar image of the Lincoln Memorial, which was introduced in 1959. This reverse design was meant to honor Lincoln's legacy and is beloved by coin collectors and history enthusiasts alike. So, why is the 1972 D. Lincoln cent so special? Well, like many other coins, its value comes down to its condition and rarity. The 1972 Lincoln cent was minted in large numbers, with billions of these pennies being produced, especially from the Denver Mint, which is marked by the D mint mark. These coins circulated for years, so it's not uncommon to find them with a lot of wear, scratches, or fading. However, uncirculated coins, those that have been carefully preserved and have never been used in commerce, are where the value lies. If you happen to find a 1972 D penny in uncirculated condition, that's when the coin starts to become really interesting. Uncirculated coins have no wear or signs of use. They're as close to mint condition as you can get, and that makes them highly sought after by collectors. An uncirculated 1972 D penny can be worth significantly more than a circulated one, especially if it has been preserved with care over the years. But the story doesn't end there. Another factor that can significantly increase the value of the 1972 D Lincoln cent is if it has any minting errors. Errors in coin production are relatively rare, but when they do happen, they can make a coin extremely valuable. And the 1972 D Lincoln cent has a few errors that collectors are always on the lookout for. One of the most well-known errors associated with the 1972 D Lincoln cent is the double die error. This occurs when a coin is struck more than once, but the second strike is misaligned, causing the design to appear doubled. On the 1972 D penny, the double die error typically affects the date, and it's a noticeable flaw that can make the coin stand out from the rest. If you find a 1972 D penny with a double die error, you might just be holding a very rare and valuable coin. Another potential error that collectors look for is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not positioned correctly during the minting process, causing the design to be struck off-center. Off-center strikes are often visually striking and make for unique additions to any collection. If you come across a 1972 D penny with an off-center strike, it could be worth far more than its face value, especially if the strike is dramatic. The value of a pristine, uncirculated 1972 D Lincoln cent or one with a minting error can be quite impressive. While most 1972 D pennies in circulation are worth just 1 cent, those in exceptional condition can fetch a significant amount. And if you've got one of those rare minting error coins, you could be in for a big surprise. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. How much is a 1972 D Lincoln cent actually worth? Well, if you have an uncirculated 1972 D penny or, even better, one with a minting error like the double die or off-center strike, it could be worth an incredible $80,000. Yes, you heard that right. $80,000 for a single penny. That's how much a 1972 D Lincoln cent with the right features can be worth on the market. It's amazing to think that a coin that is so small and seemingly insignificant could be worth such a large sum. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and this is just one example of how the right combination of factors, condition, rarity, and minting errors can turn a simple penny into a treasure worth thousands of dollars. So, the next time you're sifting through your coin collection or checking your pocket change, take a closer look at your 1972 D pennies. Are they in good condition? Do they show any signs of a minting error? If so, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Next coin, we're talking about the 1975 Lincoln 1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that could hold an extraordinary value. Stay tuned until the end of the video to find out just how much this humble coin could be worth today. Let's take a trip back in time to 1975. It was a year of change for the United States, with the country still recovering from the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal. The U.S. Mint was hard at work, producing coins that would circulate across the country. Among them was the 1975 Lincoln cent, which, like most pennies, was used in daily transactions and found in the pockets of millions of Americans. But here's the thing. While most of these 1975 pennies have been spent and passed along over the years, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its worth. Typically, a 1975 Lincoln cent might only be worth 1 cent, its face value. However, if you happen to stumble upon one that's in excellent condition, or even better, uncirculated, you could be sitting on a gold mine. The design of the 1975 Lincoln cent is instantly recognizable. On the obverse, you'll find the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor David Brenner. This image has graced the Lincoln cent since its debut in 1909, and it remains one of the most recognizable depictions of an American president. On the reverse side, you'll see the familiar image of the Lincoln Memorial, which has been the standard design for the reverse of the Lincoln cent since 1959. The memorial symbolizes Lincoln's legacy, and the coin itself represents the strength and resilience of the United States. So, why does the 1975 Lincoln cent hold potential for collectors, especially when there were so many of these coins produced? Well, the answer lies in a few important factors: rarity, condition, and error types. While the U.S. Mint produced billions of these pennies in 1975, not all of them survived in pristine condition. Most of these coins spent years in circulation, being handled, worn down, and damaged. As a result, finding a 1975 penny in mint condition, or even better, uncirculated, is a rare find. Now, let's talk about uncirculated coins. An uncirculated coin is one that has never been used in daily transactions. It's as close to the mint's original strike as you can get, meaning it still has sharp details, vibrant color, and no signs of wear or damage. The 1975 Lincoln cent, like many coins from the 1970s, was mass-produced, so most of them have seen some level of wear. However, an uncirculated 1975 penny, especially one that has been carefully preserved, can be highly valuable to collectors, but it doesn't stop there. The 1975 Lincoln cent has a certain level of rarity due to its minting errors. Coin collectors love finding coins with mistakes or oddities during the minting process. Errors can happen for a number of reasons, such as misalignments, double strikes, or poor quality control during the coin's production. These errors are often one of the main reasons a coin can be worth much more than its face value. For the 1975 Lincoln cent, one of the most valuable error types is the double die. This occurs when the coin is struck multiple times, but the second strike is slightly misaligned, causing the design to appear doubled. In the case of the 1975 penny, the double die error typically affects the date, so if you find a 1975 penny with a double date, you could be holding a highly sought-after coin. These types of coins can be worth a lot more than just a penny, and they can significantly increase the value of your collection. Another error to watch for is a misaligned die or an off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a coin that's struck off-center. The design may be incomplete or it may appear shifted. Off-center strikes are unique and visually interesting, making them especially desirable to collectors. If you find a 1975 penny with this kind of minting error, it could be a valuable addition to your collection. Now, here comes the exciting part: how much is the 1975 Lincoln cent worth? Well, most 1975 pennies are worth just 1 cent, but if you happen to find one that's in uncirculated condition, or if it has one of those rare minting errors, the value can skyrocket. An uncirculated 1975 penny in excellent condition can fetch a nice price, but the real prize is a 1975 penny with a minting error like a double die or off-center strike. These special coins can be worth far more than their face value, and in some cases, they can reach a value of $60,000. Yes, you heard that right, $60,000 for a single 1975 Lincoln cent. That's how much a rare, error-filled penny can be worth in the right condition. So, the next time you're sifting through your coin collection or going through your spare change, make sure to take a close look at your 1975 pennies. If you find one with a minting error or if it's in fantastic condition, you could be sitting on a valuable coin that's worth far more than just 1 cent. Now, we're talking about the 1981 D. Lincoln 1 cent coin. This coin may look like just another penny at first glance, but it holds the potential to be far more valuable than you might think. Stick around as we uncover the fascinating story behind this coin and how much it could be worth today. Let's take a trip back to 1981. It was a year of significant change in the United States, as the country was experiencing economic challenges, including high inflation and unemployment. But despite the turbulent times, the U.S. Mint was busy producing billions of coins for circulation, including the Lincoln 1-cent coin. These coins were used in everyday transactions, passing through countless hands and wallets. The 1981 D. Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint, which is where the D mint mark comes from. And it was part of the ongoing production of pennies featuring the famous design of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But here's the twist: the 1981 D. Lincoln cent is more than just a simple penny. Like many other coins, its value is determined by several factors, including its condition, rarity, and potential minting errors. The majority of the 1981 pennies that were produced saw plenty of circulation over the years, so finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is rare. Most of the 1981 D coins you'll encounter will have been used and worn, losing their sharp details and smooth surfaces. However, for collectors, it's the uncirculated coins that hold the most appeal and value. An uncirculated 1981 D. Lincoln cent is a coin that has never been used in everyday transactions, meaning it's essentially in mint condition. These coins are much harder to find because most pennies have seen years of use, resulting in worn edges and faded details. However, if you do manage to find one that has been carefully preserved, it can be worth far more than its face value. But the rarity of a pristine, uncirculated 1981 D penny isn't the only factor that makes this coin so interesting. Another key to its value is the potential for minting errors. Coins that feature mistakes made during the minting process are highly prized by collectors because they are unique and much rarer than coins that were struck perfectly. For the 1981 D penny, several types of minting errors could increase its value dramatically. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die. A double die occurs when the coin is struck twice by the same die, but the second strike is slightly misaligned. This causes the design to appear doubled in certain areas, most commonly in the date or letters. The 1981 D. Lincoln cent is known to have a few examples of this error, especially in the date, and these coins can be worth much more than the average penny. If you happen to find a 1981 D penny with a double die error, you could have a very valuable coin in your hands. In addition to the double die error, another minting flaw that can increase the value of the 1981 D penny is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be struck off-center. Off-center strikes are visually striking, and they make the coin unique. If you discover a 1981 D penny with an off-center strike, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on because these types of errors can dramatically increase the coin's value. So, how much is a 1981 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin actually worth? You might be surprised by the answer. While most 1981 pennies are only worth 1 cent, a pristine, uncirculated 1981 D penny can fetch a significant price. But it's not just the condition that matters. If you happen to find one with a minting error like the double die or off-center strike, the value can skyrocket. The right combination of rarity, condition, and errors can make the 1981 D. Lincoln cent worth an impressive $50,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $50,000 for a single 1981 D penny. That's the potential value of this coin if you find one in exceptional condition or with a rare minting error. It just goes to show that sometimes the most ordinary coins can have extraordinary value hidden in them. So, next time you go through your change or sort through your coin collection, take a close look at any 1981 D pennies you might have. You never know, you could be holding onto a valuable treasure worth thousands of dollars. Last unique coin, we're going to be talking about the 1984 Lincoln 1-cent coin. Yes, that simple penny you may have tucked away in your collection or hiding in your change jar. This coin might seem like just another run-of-the-mill penny at first glance, but it has the potential to be worth much more than its face value. Stick with us until the end to find out just how much this little coin could be worth today. Let's go back in time to 1984. It was a year of both progress and change in the United States. The economy was experiencing growth, and Ronald Reagan was in the midst of his second term as president. The U.S. Mint was busy producing billions of coins for circulation, including the Lincoln 1-cent coin. The 1984 Lincoln cent was no different from other pennies produced around that time, but little did people know that these coins would soon become of interest to collectors years down the line. The design of the 1984 Lincoln 1-cent coin is a classic. On the obverse, we have the well-known portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. This iconic image has graced the Lincoln cent since its debut, and it's one of the most familiar depictions of any U.S. president. On the reverse side, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, which has been the standard reverse design of the penny since 1959. The memorial represents Lincoln's legacy, and the coin itself stands as a symbol of the strength and unity of the United States. What makes the 1984 Lincoln cent so interesting? You might be thinking, it's just another penny, right? Well, you're partially correct, but here's the catch. The value of a coin isn't just determined by its face value. Instead, factors like rarity, condition, and minting errors can all play a significant role in a coin's true worth. While most 1984 pennies you'll come across are probably well-worn from years of circulation, there are still some hidden gems out there, especially those in uncirculated condition. Let's talk about uncirculated coins for a moment. Uncirculated coins are exactly what they sound like, coins that have never been used in regular transactions and are essentially in pristine condition. These coins have sharp details, vibrant luster, and no visible signs of wear. The 1984 Lincoln cent, like many other pennies, was mass-produced, so most of them have seen plenty of circulation. Finding an uncirculated 1984 penny is a rare treat for collectors, and if you manage to find one, it could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent, of course. It's not just the condition of the coin that can make it valuable. There's another important factor at play: minting errors. Coins with errors from the minting process are highly sought after by collectors. These errors happen during production and make the coin stand out from the rest. The more unique the error, the higher the value. For the 1984 Lincoln cent, there are a few types of minting errors that could make the coin significantly more valuable. One of the most interesting errors to look for is a double die. A double die error occurs when the coin is struck more than once by the same die, but the second strike is slightly misaligned. This causes the design to appear doubled, and the most common place you'll see this doubling is in the date. If you spot a 1984 penny with a double date, it could be worth much more than a standard penny. Another error to keep an eye out for is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be struck off-center. These coins are rare and visually appealing, as they have a distinct and irregular look. If you find a 1984 penny with an off-center strike, it could easily be worth more than you expect. But here's the big question: how much can a 1984 Lincoln cent be worth? The answer might surprise you. While most 1984 pennies are worth just 1 cent, the real value comes when the coin is in uncirculated condition or has a rare minting error. A well-preserved uncirculated 1984 penny is worth more than just its face value, but if you find one with a double die or off-center strike, the value can really skyrocket. In fact, a 1984 Lincoln cent with the right conditions or errors can be worth an astonishing $40,000. Yes, that's $40,000 for a single penny. While it's rare to come across one of these highly valuable coins, it just goes to show that the most ordinary coins can sometimes be hiding extraordinary value. Next time you're going through your spare change, take a moment to look at your 1984 pennies. If you find one in great condition, or better yet, one with a minting error, you could be holding onto a coin worth much more than you thought possible. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed learning about the 1984 Lincoln 1-cent coin and want to discover more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any future discoveries. You never know what hidden gems are just waiting to be found in your collection. Until next time, happy hunting, and I'll see you in the next video.